Axient wisdom lesson warmly greets you. What did successful people who rose from the bottom do right? Was it just luck? Perhaps this video cannot help you turn your situation around and become strong within a month, but it can help you in the next 2 to 3 years surpass 98% of your peers. Today, we will explore together 8 mindsets that break through limitations, helping you turn the tide and escape the vicious cycle of poverty. First, redefine the problem. A multinational cosmetics company in Japan launched a soap production line. They received customer complaints that the soap boxes they purchased were empty. To solve this problem, the company spent tens of millions of yen importing new equipment to ensure every box contained soap. Meanwhile, a small business in China faced the same issue, but its owner solved the problem by spending only a few dozen dollars. Do you know how he did it? He placed an electric fan at the end of the production line. The empty boxes were blown away, leaving only the boxes with soap. The Japanese multinational's boss fell into a fixed mindset, how to ensure every box has soap. Thinking along those lines, he could only choose to upgrade equipment. But the small business owner broke this mindset and redefined the problem, how to remove the empty boxes from the production line. With that thinking, the solution became simple: use a fan to blow them away. Many difficult problems are not truly difficult. They are hard because we get stuck in a fixed mindset. In such cases, try stepping back and redefining the problem. What is the real problem? Are there other solutions? Einstein was a master at breaking fixed mindsets. He once said, "If I had 1 hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions." This shows Einstein excelled at thinking deeply and defining the problem. Only after understanding the essence of the problem did he begin to solve it. For example, a restaurant owner faced the problem of too many customers and not enough seating. Many customers left because they didn't want to wait long. In a normal situation, one might hire more chefs to make food faster. But this would increase labor costs and could even cause the restaurant to incur losses. However, this owner changed his thinking, how to make customers willing to wait longer. He placed a few small chairs, prepared some snacks, and bought an old TV to play interesting movies or programs. The result was that customers waited more patiently in line, and the restaurant's revenue increased significantly. With low cost, breaking fixed mindsets is something everyone encounters. When you hit a dead end and can't think clearly, try elevating your thinking and redefining the problem. Perhaps this will open a new door for you. Often, asking the right question is more important than solving the problem. Second, understand the essence of problem solving. At Toyota, an employee found a drop of oil on the floor. The first reaction of many people would be to wipe it clean, but this employee did not do that. He asked himself, "Why is there a drop of oil here?" He saw the oil leaking from a bolt. An ordinary person might just tighten the bolt, but he did not. Why is only this bolt leaking oil, while others are not? When he removed it for inspection, he found the rubber washer had aged. If he had discovered the washer was damaged, the next action would be to replace it, but he did not stop there. Why were all the washers installed at the same time, yet only this one aged? He removed more nearby bolts and placed them on the inspection table. It turned out the washer of the aged bolt was produced by a different supplier. He reported this finding to the purchasing department, helping them improve their supplier quality inspection process. When you do not understand the essence of a problem, all your efforts are just solving the surface. That is the most basic way to break down a problem. To go deeper, ask yourself why at least 5 times to find the root cause and solve it thoroughly. This is the famous 5 whys analysis method. At a museum, the walls were severely damaged. To find the root cause, they hired the consulting firm McKinsey. Why were the walls so damaged? Because they were frequently cleaned with harsh detergents. Why did they need frequent cleaning? Because there was too much bird droppings. Why were there so many bird droppings? Because there were many spiders, which birds love to eat. Why were there many spiders? Because there were many insects on the walls that spiders like to eat. Why were there many insects? Because sunlight from the windows attracted them. The final solution was to close the curtains. This is how McKinsey, one of the world's top consulting firms, solved the problem. There is a line I really like: a person who can see through the essence of a problem in half a second, and a person who never understands it in their lifetime will certainly have different destinies. What is the difference between us and those who quickly see through the essence? It is the ability to think deeply. Most people lack this skill. They often rely on instinctive reflexes based on experience, causing their thinking to be limited to superficial solutions. Asking 5 whys or applying Elon Musk's first principles can help you find the root of the problem and understand its essence. Third, eliminate prejudice. There is a story. A believer who could not swim fell into the sea. While struggling, he saw a boat coming to rescue him, but he refused, saying, "I will wait for God to save me." Later, another boat came, and he still refused, continuing to wait. His soul went to heaven, and he blamed God. "Why didn't you save me?" God replied, "I sent you 2 boats. You were the one who refused to get on." This is like when opportunities come to us repeatedly, but we miss them. We blame fate. Therefore, learn to let go of prejudice and seize opportunities at the right moment. In a TV drama, the female lead, Jung Sun, wanted to work for a company run by a rival of her friend Daisy. Daisy, however, encouraged her. Jung Sun was very confused, but Daisy replied, "I admire them, so I want to work with talented people to learn their methods and how they handle things. This is more valuable than any salary." But Jung Sun replied, "I want to be the first Jung Sun, not the second Daisy." This is very similar to many of us when we first enter the workplace. At that time, we were full of passion, telling ourselves we must be true to ourselves and achieve success in our own way. We often resist others' ideas, fearing that if we accept them, we will become their copy. But Daisy offered a completely different perspective. All initial learning is like looking in a mirror. You learn from one teacher, then move on to another, like changing a mirror. Until one day you realize the image in the mirror is yourself. Then you will have your own method and become a mirror for others. Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, once said, "Most of what I did was imitating others." Of course, he did not mean copying exactly, but disassembling and analyzing the success formulas of competitors, then learning from their experience. You will realize what truly makes you passionate, define your own goals, and on the foundation of imitation, adjust according to your own characteristics to make it a part of yourself. Humanity cannot see things it has never known before. This is terrifying. You can only grow when you realize things you have never seen, but if you cannot see them, you will never progress. The only way is to learn from others. If you do not want to break your own limits, you will forever remain your old self. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Many people die at 30, but are not buried until they are 80. After passing 30, stopping growth is very common. Life is no different from the previous year, only time is wasted." Fourth, the mindset of usage rights. The son of a banker curiously asked his father, "How did you earn so much money?" The father stopped working, told the boy to take a piece of pork from the refrigerator, then told him to put it back. The boy did so, standing there confused. The father looked at him and smiled. "The pork was in the fridge initially, and it is still there now. But your hands now have a layer of grease, right? That is how rich people make money, but few realize it. Banks do not actually own their cash. They only hold the right to use the money. Ownership belongs to the depositors." The crucial cash flow mindset is the mindset of usage rights. While the poor always focus on ownership, practicing usage rights creates the wealth gap in society. Legally dominating the game to a certain extent is accumulating assets through asset transfer, not creating assets. You use your time to feel fulfilled? This is not an easy question to answer. In the book, through Casey's words, John tells a small story to illustrate. Casey once went scuba diving and encountered a large sea turtle. She tried to swim after it to get closer, but realized that no matter how hard she tried, she could not keep up with the turtles. If you want to open a dumpling shop, instead of just thinking about selling dumplings, consider whether making money from selling dumplings or from selling the dumpling shop business model is more effective. If you systematize everything, from recipes to operations, then hold seminars to attract franchises, you can earn significant profits by supplying ingredients and supporting store decoration. These are just examples. I hope you can apply them to your own field. Fifth, the trial and error mindset. In an interview, the recruiter asked candidates to find a needle hidden in the grass of a football field. Finding a needle in such a vast field is like finding a needle in a haystack. If you were the interviewee, how would you find the needle? The first interviewee was John. After receiving the question, he immediately ran onto the field. He bent down to search with every step, continuing to search bit by bit. Finally, his footprints covered the entire field. This approach is called the trial and error mindset. Edison used this method when inventing the light bulb. To find a suitable metal for the filament, he tested materials like gold, silver, copper, and iron. All failed because their melting points were too low, causing them to break when electrified. After over 1,000 trials, Edison finally found tungsten and invented the light bulb. The trial and error mindset has the advantage of being easy to implement, but its disadvantage is very high cost. The second interviewee was Mike. He asked the questioner, "Can I use a tool to help find the needle?" He borrowed a magnet and began searching by moving the magnet across the field. His search path was similar to John's. This is the tool mindset. Humans are inherently weak. We cannot fly in the sky or dive deep into the sea. Our running speed is even slower than many animals. But humans have a superior advantage, the ability to use tools. The tool mindset means when you face a problem you cannot solve yourself, you ask, "What tool can I rely on to handle this problem?" Mike combined both trial and error and tool mindsets. The third interviewee was David. After receiving the question, he asked the questioner, "Can I get more information?" The questioner agreed. Where was the person standing when they threw the needle, and in which direction did they throw it? The person stood at the center of the field and threw it northward. How high did they throw it? 6 feet. Based on this information, he used logical thinking to determine the possible landing area of the needle. He borrowed a tape measure and 4 small flags to mark the area, then used a magnet and quickly found the needle. David combined logical, tool, and trial and error mindsets. Trial and error is the most basic method. You hardly need to think much and can start acting immediately. But precisely because of this, the action cost is usually very high. Meanwhile, tool and logical mindsets are more advanced. Before acting, you need to gather information, evaluate conditions, and choose the right tool. This increases thinking cost but significantly reduces action cost. These 3 mindsets need to be flexibly combined for maximum effectiveness. To commemorate Lady Godiva, John Collier created this painting. However, many people, upon seeing the painting, only see a naked woman and feel it is indecent. But when you understand the story behind it, you might feel ashamed of your initial prejudice. In the world, only 1% of people truly understand the truth. Only Truman was unaware that his life was being broadcast live nationwide. Later, Truman began to notice something was wrong. After countless hardships, he broke through the fake world controlled by the director and escaped Sea Haven. Sea Haven was a trap the director set for Truman. But in our lives, are we perhaps both the director and Truman? A friend told me his father frequently abused the family. Since childhood, he advised his mother to divorce, but she chose to silently endure it, fearing others would laugh at her. Now she is 60 years old and has silently lived under abuse for decades. Hearing this story shocked me. Why didn't she resist? What made her endure it for so long? I realized a big secret behind it. Inertia is a kind of power. It keeps everything in its initial state and automatically resists change. Understanding this helps explain why young children often resist when first going to kindergarten, or why many women who suffer abuse still refuse to change or resist. In a way, the abusive father is the main culprit, but inertia is the accomplice. Who rules this world? The answer is inertia. Who changes the world? The answer is those who resist inertia. There are 2 types of people in the world. The first type is controlled by inertia, refuses to change, and lives a monotonous life. When unemployed, they immediately collapse because they have no other survival skills. Their lives show no growth from youth to old age, only their age increases because they are imprisoned by inertia. The second type breaks inertia. steps out of their comfort zone, enters unfamiliar territory, and continuously learns and grows. Finally, they achieve a cognitive upgrade. The process of growth is a battle against inertia. Every beginning is difficult because when you start something, you face not only the fear of the unknown, but also your own inertia, as if being attacked from two sides. Unlucky words. An internet user recounted that a colleague of hers was pregnant with twins, but constantly complained about how troublesome it would be to care for two children. She would joke to anyone she met, "Hey, want one of them?" When she gave birth, one of the babies died. Actually, the two sets of numbers are identical, only arranged differently. Why did you remember the second set faster? This is a higher-level thinking method than logical thinking, called structured thinking. The reason the second set is easier to remember is that it aligns with our brain's habit of processing information. First, when information is too abundant, the brain struggles to absorb it. Second, we always prioritize information with clear patterns. The second set of numbers is arranged very systematically, so we memorize it quickly. Can we use this characteristic of the brain to enhance our thinking ability? Structured thinking is about reorganizing ideas and information in your mind. Like the second set of numbers, it is arranged according to certain rules and order. This makes ideas clearer and easier to understand, thereby better supporting problem solving. When you cannot clearly express a problem or forget a book immediately after reading it, these issues seem like poor expression or learning skills, but they are actually due to your thinking lacking structure. Like when a car breaks down, you don't know how to handle it because, in your eyes, it consists of thousands of scattered parts. But for a mechanic, the car is not thousands of parts, but only 5 main systems. Thanks to this structure, they can immediately identify which system has a problem, then find the specific fault inside, instead of checking each part, saving much time and being far more effective. Structured thinking lies in the word structure. If you can find the structure behind a complex problem, you won't need to think too much about every detail. Instead, you can act like a mechanic, breaking down large, complex problems into smaller, simpler ones and solving them part by part. This significantly increases your speed and efficiency in handling problems. 8th, the 4 fastest ways to make money. Kazuo Inamori once said, "The 4 fastest paths to wealth have never changed." First, information asymmetry, what you do not know, but I know. In the past, information was held by only a few people. Whoever held the information became rich. In today's society, the problem is not a lack of information, but how to find the information you need quickly, effectively, and accurately. If you can find the information you need faster than others, you will succeed. Second, cognitive asymmetry, what you do not understand, but I understand. Information is just the starting point. The biggest difference between people lies in their ability to process and comprehend information after receiving it. How to turn the information you receive into your own understanding and asset. This is the key to breaking through. Third, action asymmetry. You do not act, but I do. If you do not act, it means you have not started, and you will have no further opportunities. All the information, understanding, and resources a person possesses can only be demonstrated through action. A person lacking the ability to act will let opportunities slip by without even realizing it. While you procrastinate, others have already moved forward. Fourth, competitive asymmetry. You and I both do it, but I do it better than you. But to win in a fiercely competitive market, you need to continuously improve yourself, maintain agility, curiosity, and competitiveness. Remember these breakthrough mindsets well. Only when you become strong will the world truly respond to you fairly and deservedly.